now lead jammer for Canberra.
Sydney Gemma out of the pack though, catching up about half lap behind shortstop.
Sydney games just happening for the team. That's what they're really looking for. Inner West are, I guess, in the early stages of their membership with Woofter and their initial sort of appearance on the rankings tables. So again, kind of makes sense. They've got a bit of seeding to do. They'll probably be, potentially underranked for a little while, like both Brisbane's teams were for a very, very long time. So it's probably going to take a good 6 months or so for Inner West to find their real place in the Oceania standings, I think.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure calling this first half with you, Mendo. I think we should take a quick break and grab a drink, refresh our voices, and we shall return to you in about 12 minutes.
Thanks, folks.
Hello, Derby fans. We are back here at the beautiful Menai Indoor Sports Center, south of Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. Welcome back to the microphone, Commander Rolls.
Thank you, FTP. Welcome back, folks. Sports fans, last period we're approaching here of the tournament for the weekend. Now, we need to revisit some of those scaled standings we were looking at before FTP. I spoke too soon. And there were some errors.
As did I, though. It was the graphic in front of us at the time. Thanks to producer Skittles here for getting the data updated and getting us a new graphic. So let's have a quick look over it. Number 5 position for the weekend. 4 games, 4 losses, minus 37 on the differential there for Inner West. Sydney is in 4th place. 2 games, 1 win, 1 loss, minus just 0.6% on the differential, though. South Sea Banshees, 3 games, 2 wins, 1 loss, just under 3% there as just on 3% as the points differential, negative 3% there. Canberra in position number 2 for the weekend, 3 games, 2 wins, 1 loss, 37.9% on the indicator there. And in first position for the weekend, Brisbane Red Kennedys, 4 games, 3 wins, 1 loss with a 3%.
All right, folks, we are just about underway here in the second period. Bellows calling for the 5 seconds. Shortstop wearing the star for Canberra. Yoshi jamming for Sydney.
Shortstop recycled to the very back of the pack.
Yoshi with quick lead for Sydney. Shorty about half a track behind for now. Yoshi able to skate through and get 4 points scoring pass there.
A little bit of separation of blockers as the pack sped up there, giving Yoshi that perfect opportunity to pick up the points.
Yeah, a bit of smart work there from both packs to get it moving. I know this might sound counterintuitive, but we play a sport on roller skates where we don't do much roller skating a lot of the time. So a fast pack like that, a bit of a callback, but also a very, very strategic move at the time.
Certainly is a lot of toe stop work these days, isn't there? And as someone who started on skates back in the 90s that did not have toe stops, that's always a foreign concept to me.
Yeah, look, I saw when I first got here on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure it was Felony who was jamming for Brisbane. Just noting here that Hodo is out with lead jammer for Sydney. Lemmy Adam working on that Sydney wall at the back, has now completed their initial.
Hodo on a scoring pass, gets blocked to the outside of the track, recycled all the way to the back.
Yeah, I got tricked by Felony. It looked like they had a short forward mount on their skates and they were using a soccer boot or a football boot as their skate boot. And I can't help it. I look at that setup and I go, oh, speed skate.
Yeah, it looks like a speed skate setup.
Yeah, and so I actually thought for the first couple of jams that Felony was skating without toe stops. I'm like, mate, 2025, this is beautiful. I never thought I'd see this again. Of course, I was wrong. Felony does have toe stops.
Disappointed. Very disappointed.
A little.
Glam cracker for Sydney. Start on head. Starts the jam. First into the pack. 2 blockers to go at the front of the pack. 3 in triangle formation.
Pink Mist working on the Sydney wall at the back. 2 very different jamming styles here. Glam cracker. Really called her Crystal for some reason. Anyway, Glam.
Where would you get that from?
I don't know. Glam, like very pushy, but also very strong. A little bit of lateral hits. Pink Mist pushy, but also, able to take quick lateral movements and take opportunities to maximise offence. Glam now working on that scoring pass. Unfortunately, takes a tumble. No issues there. Uses that as an opportunity to call off the jam. Two more points on the board there for Sydney. None to Canberra in that one, unfortunately. Look, FTP, it's happening again.
The lineup, the same lineup we've seen so many times this game.
Indeed, yes.
Shortstop for Canberra, Yoshi for Sydney.
Both teams really want to dominate this back line here. I feel like the strategy here is to create chaos. Both jammers seem to have a bit of success when there's chaos.
And there was absolutely chaos at the front of that pack. Both jammers out side by side, hoping to see some jammer on jammer action. I don't think we will, though. They both want the points instead.
Oh, Yoshi might have picked up 2 or 3 right at the back there. J-Ref are going to consult with Denominator, work out which hips were passed, if any at all. I feel like there's at least 1 or 2 in the bank for Sydney.
I feel there's one there. I feel there is. If there is one there is a blocker in the bin, which would make it 2.
2 points. Nice. Picks up that box point. Actually, J-Ref seems to be signalling 3 points there. So
2 hips and
2
the
off
bonus.
the track. Yeah.
Rampage for Sydney Roller Derby League taking the outside of the track, pirouetting around the final blocker, picks up lead jammer already.
A little bit of glimmer there from Nova as the offense, I think, distracted the outside butt in Canberra's wall, making it really easy for Rampage to get through.
Rampage giving team the signal to go forward, make some space on the track with them.
Oh, really nice work from Dr. Hoo there, getting in the way of Ruby Doom, who was on a plan to run back Rampage. Dr. Hoo was like, nope.
And we've seen that plan of Ruby's come together so many times in this game, causing havoc for the jammers, making it really difficult to complete those passes, contributing heavily to Canberra's incredibly solid defence today.
Absolutely, yes. All right, Chakram wearing the star for Sydney. Pretty sure that's pink mist jamming for Canberra.
We haven't really even seen any heavy jams for Sydney either. It has been just that gradual couple of points at a time, each jam or 2, just pulling that lead further and further ahead. Now at 116, playing 40.
Yeah, absolutely. Containing their risk, I think, making smart decisions. Also knowing that there's an entire season of roller derby still to come.
It's very early in 2025. We've really only just gotten things underway for the year, haven't we? 5x5 has certainly kicked off in the last few weeks. Up again next weekend, I believe. You'll be able to watch that here on Apex TV, by the way.
Pretty excited about the next round of 5x5, which will actually be the first round for the year, seeing as, believe it or not, folks, if you didn't know already, we play an indoor sport that was rained out.
Who'd ever thought it, hey? Who'd ever thought it? When I posted it on Facebook, I got several comments of people going, hang on, aren't you indoors?
We are indoors, but unfortunately the Dunker Grey Velodrome still has the odd leaky loo here or there. All right, Chakram completing that scoring pass. More points on the board for Sydney. Late the call-off there. Chakram delaying the call-off until the penalty box was clear. Flux Decapitator released from the penalty box. Time to call off that jam. FTP, are we 1 on 1 off with this combination right now? Is that what is happening?
Feeling that way to me, and I think if you were coaching either of these benches, would you want to change that?
No.
Shortstop pushing it. One blocker to go in front of the pack. Gets taken to the outside.
Oh, both jammers there carried to the outside of turn 1 by the opposition blocker. Shortstop with the ultimate success, though, and is now lead jammer. Control this jam going to Canberra.
Sydney jammer on the floor. Not where you can pick up any points, though.
Very difficult to complete your initial when you're on the floor as well.
Yoshi is now out of the pack. Shortstop picking up points, though. One blocker to go from the Sydney side. That is all the points on offer in the pack. Picked up and calls up the jam before Yoshi can do any damage.
Yep, 4 points to Canberra coming out of that jam. Very fast pack. A little bit of chaos towards the end, but that's all right. I think as we commented earlier, FTP, both of those jammers benefit from a little bit of chaos. They're quite happy dancing around on their toe stops, trying to find small gaps to move through. Suits them very, very well.
Another lineup we've seen a little bit today as well. Lemmy up against Toto.
Yeah, absolutely. There seems to be some jammer and pack matching going on here. Big fan of that myself. I'm very lucky as a bench coach to have worked with live stats on more than one occasion, and it makes a huge, huge difference to your decision making. Hodo currently lead for Sydney. Quick points on the board, gets through that tough Canberra defence and pulls it off right away.
Back in my day of bench managing, having live stats would have been a godsend.
Look, I tell you, it just makes such a difference. It allows for speaking obviously only for myself, but as that front bench track watching, not having to think about lineups, not having to think about which pack to send out, and just relying on data, which I know FTP is something that you and I are both big on.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love having data. It means that my decisions are informed. They're probably pretty good. But yeah, data, having live data available is an absolute delight. Then Brittal, lead jammer for Sydney. And folks, if you are wondering what we're talking about when it comes to live stats, I would strongly recommend you Google or have a search for Bing it, don't Bing it, maybe DuckDuckGo it. You want Rainy City's stats template is what you're looking for. Manchester, Rainy City did have a website for a while, but it has now disappeared, unfortunately. Then Brittal with a bit of a spin on the entrance to turn one, looking to pick up some points.
Taken down to the knees on the inside of the track, though.
1 point awarded. That spinning definitely had the desired effect.
So the template you were talking about, is that something that sits on top of CRG and pulls the data directly out of scoreboard?
No, it is not, as a matter of fact. You need to have someone live on the bench completing the template as you go and then feeding that information to either yourself as the front bench, Yoshi, lead jammer here for Sydney. Shorty still working on that Sydney wall. Yoshi likely to get a scoring pass completed here before Shorty approaches.
But that traffic and defence from Canberra at the back of the pack wants to state otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. That strong defence by Canberra not making that easy at all. But yeah, sorry, FTP, to get back to your question, it's essentially, so of those 4 positions that you are allowed in your bench area, one of those would be dedicated to someone who has that template, is feeding data into it, and then feeding
you as the bench lineup manager, you're just taking a look at that, looking at which packs are working best together, which packs are
100%.
Keeping the points down, which packs are letting the points leak a little bit. Invaluable information to a bench manager.
Absolutely, because I mean, you know yourself, you've got plenty of experience as a bench manager. Sometimes you're just going by vibe, which is nice. But
I very much was a vibe bench manager, and it's certainly 10 years ago when I retired from bench managing.
It was all you had.
It was all I had, yeah.
Yeah, you had no other options. So yeah, look, it has been a real evolution, I think. I know that Rosie Richards, who was doing that for a long time for VRDL, and if my memory serves, it's now Demandria, who occupies that spot on the bench for VRDL All-Stars. So yeah, look, still a very powerful tool. I know Pie's been here this weekend feeding data to Mr. Bump as part of Inner West's lineup group, bench crew. So yeah, look, like I say, I think it's really powerful, and still a lot of value to be gained out of it, even though it's now getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, well, it's certainly, I mean, a lot of the software used out there in just about every other sport on the planet is getting a bit long in the tooth as well. It's especially on that side of things. And on that note, you wouldn't find any other professional athletic endeavour or team sport that doesn't collect those kind of stats during play for their own use, not only the official use, but certainly the focus of a team's stats collection may be slightly different to what officials or the viewing public online or on stream or on television do need to see.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I think there's a lot of data that can be pulled from games. I mean, of course, you can just, talk about it. To always talk about watching tape. Of course, it's not tape anymore, but
we still call it tape.
Yeah, still. Well, see, here's the thing: in petabyte-sized storages, you are still using tape. Tape still has it. It's so stable. Anyway, we could talk about that for too long, and that's not what this stream is about. But maybe we do need to have a why tape is good stream still. Anyway,
yeah. But even any media playback in TV or live event presentation, we still call VTR video tape recorder. And if it's got sound on it, we will say it's got sound on tape, even if it's coming off the cloud.
Nice. All right, Rampage will be jamming for Sydney in this one, and I reckon that's Lemmy Adams standing on the far side there.
I think you might be right about that one, Mendo.
Just a little bit of a delay here. Obviously, first aid were called in there. No major issues, of course. Everyone was up and underway under their own power. Makita taking the opportunity here to steal a chip from Redacted in the crowd. Very, very cheeky from an official.
And a little dance too.
Yeah, Makita thinks that it's so good that she should dance to it. Okay, of course. Great work by them. Very happy about that.
Once again, a huge shout out to every official here this weekend. It is a thankless task getting this much roller derby on in 3 days. It's a lot of roller derby, Mendo.
It really is a lot of games, a lot for officials to work through. I was talking to Jim Peckley about this yesterday, though. He was commenting positively about how the rosters had been organised for this weekend. As we see Rampage currently lead jammer for Sydney. Looks like a power jam situation for Sydney now, though. Lemmy sent to the box for a cut track penalty.
Rampage adjusting the padding, getting ready, taking it easy around the pack, making sure all of the energy is conserved for actually engaging those blockers.
Yeah, Lemmy should be returned to the track during this jam if Rampage allows that much time to elapse.
And no, Rampage will not, picking up 5 points and saying, no, that's enough, thank you very much, we'll move on to the next jam.
Yeah, I seen that Canberra jammer in the penalty box. Might as well, if you don't have the energy left to complete another pass, much better off getting someone with fresh legs out and icing that jammer.
I was wondering if that couple of minutes break there might have actually played in Canberra's favour, just giving them a little bit of puff back, but seems Sydney has managed to retain the same momentum they were bringing into this half.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conversations for Sydney during that half-time would have been more of the same, please. Let's not deviate.
Rinse and repeat. Glam Cracker for Sydney Roller Derby lead is your lead jammer, taken out at the front of the pack, recycled all the way to the back, but has that lead jammer status.
No, I'm sorry, what I just saw on the track was phenomenal there. So shortstop, trying to recycle Glam Cracker. Altitude stood right in Shorty's way, knocked Shorty to the ground as a result. Shorty got up, just stepped around Ali while she wasn't there and kept drawing Glam Cracker back, forcing that run back even further.
Meanwhile, Glam has offloaded the star. Surround Pound is your jammer of record for Sydney Roller Derby League now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been talking a lot this weekend about pivot jammers and the choices that you make with certain kinds of pivot jammers. The choice, if I was Canberra right now, I would not be leaving Pound out there as a pivot jammer. I wouldn't care how many points I'm down at this point. I would just be calling the jam off because however many points down I am, it's about to get a lot worse if I leave Pound out there.
Pound coming around, finding 3 blockers in a wall back of the pack. Picks up those points. I think there is only one Canberra blocker left to pass, but caught up in traffic with the pack reforming around them. Definitely showing a little puff on Surround Pound's face there. Hands are on hips.
Yeah, two scoring passes apiece here, so 30 seconds left in the jam. It's going to go the full time. And the question is, who is going to come out of this points positive? Nice offense there by Doctor Who at the front, creating that space Surround Pound needed to get that last point and fully complete a scoring pass.
Surround Pound using the clock to their full advantage here, taking it nice and slow. The pack is coming back to meet them, though.
And quite frankly, that patience from Surround Pound there's definitely cruising through to get to the end of that jam. But I think the cruising really lulled Canberra into a false sense of security and a sudden acceleration and a movement of the hips. What's that, 3 more points for Pound on the end of that jam?
Yeah, and brings the total to 61 points for Canberra Roller Derby League and 155 for Sydney Roller Derby League. The points differential has gotten very, very small in the last couple of jams. We did say at the beginning or in the first half, 1 to 3 is the ratio that we need. 61 playing 155 is very close to that 1 to 3. Canberra minus 0.6, Sydney plus 1.4 now on the differentials.
Both packs moving very fast here as they try to contain the opposition jammer. Hodo ultimately getting lead jammer for Sydney on the exit to turn 2. Control of this jam and scoring opportunities currently in the front of Sydney.
Pair of Sydney blockers taking a seat in the penalty box though, leaving only 2 on the track. Another one is now in queue though. 1 blocker on the track for Sydney Roller Derby League.
I don't know about you, FTP, but even though Sydney is not up a lot of scoring passes on this jam, I'll be quite frank, I would eat points to get my box cleared, and that includes having Hoo report and leave again. I would be very happy to go 12 to 15 points down on this jam just to get all my blockers out. Would
have a massive effect on the differentials, but at this point on a pure score-to-score play, yes, absolutely, I would agree with you there. Canberra has actually just taken the lead on the differentials on the latest update I'm getting here from producer Skittles.
Yeah, Hodo making a smart decision there, seeing that Pink Mist was approaching again for a scoring pass, deciding that now was the time to call off the jam.
We are down to the final quarter of play here, less than 15 minutes remaining on the period clock. Scores are currently sitting at 69 for Canberra Roller Derby League and 163 for Sydney Roller Derby.
Electing to put out jammers as pivots here. We've got jammer-wise Chakram jamming for Sydney and Tough Luck jamming for Canberra, but on the pivots for both teams,
Rampage on the black and red stripe for Sydney,
and Shortstop as the pivot for Canberra. So sending out strong jammers as pivot options, not a bad choice as we head into this final quarter.
Standing by for some star passes then.
Indeed, yes. I mean, these are star passes that are likely to happen, as opposed to the I'm going to trick you by taking off my helmet cover kind of star pass. All right, Chakram out with lead and control of this jam going to Sydney. Star pass complete in the pack there.
Shortstop now, your jammer for Canberra. Out of the pack. Star in hand, goes on the helmet cover. Jam gets called off by Chakram.
Yeah, Shaq knowing that an approaching shorty is not something that you want to let continue to happen.
At least on the roller derby track.
Indeed. I think Sydney are going to call a timeout. FTP, what do you reckon?
I think they are not lining up anybody and nobody looks like they're in a hurry to do anything. I would agree with you.
Minx is in the middle, pointing out that they are the alternate to Bellows, who is the jam timer, which means that they are empowered to call the team timeout. And Bellows calls the team timeout.
All right.
So what have we had? So we've had a couple of jams. Canberra have done some pretty good work, but really the points per jams story here is all about Sydney. They are in front for this game.
Yeah, certainly you can see, though, Sydney have reliably put on a small amount all across the entire game. Canberra, however, have a very, very spiky-looking graph. A couple of big jams in there, a 17-pointer, a 15-pointer. Both without the star, though, those big jams that Canberra had. And Sydney has, as you can see, lead jammer, a couple without, but it's pretty much lead jammer across the board and points in every jam. And that is what wins you derby matches.
Absolutely. Team with the most points at the end wins, I believe. That's how this sport works.
Is that still actually written as that in the rules, in those exact words? It used to be 1.1.4.
Yeah, good question, FTP. You think you're assuming that I read the rules sometime in the last 7 or 8 years, or the case book for that matter.
That's right, you have a case book now, don't you?
Yeah, it feels like I'm going to court or something.
Back in my day, the case law was actually included in the body of the text, which was...
oh yeah, the examples and everything were built in, weren't they?
Yeah, and it was very difficult to read.
Yeah, indeed.
And hefty. It was a tome.
It was a tome, absolutely. There are two things that I remember about how the rule set used to be. One was at a Nerd Smackdown one year, listening to someone talk about how roller derby rules were too confusing, but NRL rules were easier because they just fit on one page. One, I'm not sure that's true. Two, I don't think that speaks highly of NRL's rule set if they can fit it all on one page. And then I had 2 points and now I've forgotten what the second one was. That's what happens when I don't take Vyvanse for the day. No, I remember now. I remember when the one hand down thing came in. You and I are going to continue to talk about after this jam. Thembratal wearing the star for Sydney.
Lemmy Adam for Canberra Roller Derby League. Lemmy goes down the back of the pack, and so does Thembratal. Looks like a penalty has been awarded to Thembratal, though, making it a power jam situation for Canberra. Exactly what they need at this point in the game.
Yeah, I can't see the hand signal from JRF, so I'm not entirely sure what took place. Regardless, the outcome is the same. Thembratal, 30 seconds to think about their life choices.
Lemmy Adam approaching a pack. Lineup of Canberra at the back, clearing the way for them, making sure the pass was as seamless as possible.
Yeah, some nice offense there by Canberra, surrounding that Sydney wall, making it very, very difficult for the blockers to grab a hold of Lemmy and slow them down.
good to see that old school sweeping of the line in a power jam situation still in play here at the Menai Indoor Sports Center. Then Bratal is standing in the box, turning it to the pack, still on their initial pass.
So Canberra knowing that they really do need to send some offense up to the front to help Lemmy out. You kind of can't just leave someone hanging on a Sydney wall. You need to help. All right, scoring pass completed for Canberra there. Lemmy putting more points on the board. It's approaching on another scoring pass now. A little bit of a pile up at the back of the pack there. Lemmy still working on that Sydney defence at the front. 4 more points on the board, making a bit of a liar of me. I've been suggesting that there haven't been multiple scoring passes for a lot of the weekend.
Bratal now out of the pack, eligible to score some points. Canberra caught in traffic at the front of the pack. Then Bratal gets through. I think it might have been all of the Canberra points there at the back of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Not entirely sure what Canberra was waiting for, but sometimes it just takes a minute. Because they could have had a pack advantage as well. They had Sydney blocker in the box. But also, I'm not out on the track with an empty brain and an empty lungs.
And an exhausted body from probably an exhausted body from just and brain from the commentary and streaming you've been doing all weekend, Commando.
Probably, yes. All right, Geralt lining up to jam for Canberra. Lead jammer, reminding myself that I need to check whether it's Geralt or Geralt. I feel like Geralt.
Geralt feels right to me.
Yeah, I like it. All right. So Geralt, lead jammer, has some assistance from the box on this next scoring pass. Ruby Doom, FTP, unsurprisingly, creating a bit of space for Geralt to get through there and put some more points on the board.
It's that constant swapping between defence and offence that we see so often from Ruby Doom that just makes them such a difficult player to deal with on the track for those opposing jammers.
Absolutely, and it's a real feature of the sport. Of course, there'll be thousands of you out there watching roller derby for the first time today. A real feature of the sport is that constant offense-defense switch for the blockers. Sometimes you're doing both at once.
Yeah, and it's one of those few sports that you actually get that in. Yoshi jamming for Sydney Roller Derby League. Pink missed for Canberra.
Yeah, Yoshi trying to challenge those lines and drag Canberra defenders out to the outside line. Ruby Doom initially saying, no thank you, you are not going that way.
Yoshi taken just to the inside of the track, enough to recycle them all the way to the back. Has already picked up most of the points. Another Canberra blocker with a looked like an out of play penalty to me.
Yeah, I think the tiredness is really starting to show here as the penalty count increases for both teams. A little bit of a revolving door starting to open up there in the penalty box.
Pack is thin, but 2 blockers on the track for Canberra managed to make it difficult for Yoshi, recycling them back to the inside of the pack. Again, even with 2 blockers, Canberra's defence just manages to stay on top of those opposing blockers.
Yeah, absolutely not making people's life easy, that's for sure. And I mean, look, FTP, honestly, I think, I'm going to sound like a broken record with this one, but I think that strong 2 balls are the foundation of everything we do defensively. And that just so long as you can build a strong 2 ball, everything else will be fine.
Absolutely, yeah. And once you've got that strong 2 ball, it can easily become a 3. It can easily become a 4. It can become a triangle. You can split apart and do things very easily. You can push and pull each other to exactly where you need to be. It's gives you the agility and the defence all in one package.
Absolutely. Glam Cracker wearing the star for Sydney here. Nearly out of the pack, but shortstop at the front says no and takes Glam out to the outside, causing a run back.
Lemmy Adam with the star on head for Canberra. Is out of the pack as well. Glam Cracker is your lead jammer. Both jammers coming around turn 3 now, past the central commentary position here as Glam stops on the track and decides to end it there.
Smart move by Glam and following the call from Minky on the bench, of course. Doctor Who had been released from the penalty box. No need to risk any scores, any points being scored against you. May as well call it off.
Just over 7.5 minutes left on the period clock here. 175 for Sydney Roller Derby League plays 84 for Canberra. That's quite a clawback Canberra have made in this half. Yeah,
they've done some really good work here, and part of that is about staunching Sydney's scoring opportunities, and they've done some good work maximising their own. They certainly had a really nice high-scoring power jam a little while ago. That has made a big difference for them.
With only minimal traffic at the front of the pack, Rampage gets out. Here's your lead jammer, and already picking up points here, picking up the full suite of points on the first scoring pass.
Star pass completed for Canberra. Shortstop now wearing that jammer star.
Rampage says no thank you, Shorty. No thank you.
No thank you. They knew they'd picked up 1 point. Brazen unfortunately was off the track on the outside of turn 1. But Rampage is like, well, I'll take that one. Thank you very much. That'll do.
Had a big swing in the differential count here in the latest figures from Skittle sitting next to me. Just as they're updating again, 12.5 in the positive for Canberra. That is a huge movement up from the 0 we were just a few germs ago. Minus 31.5 now for Sydney, though. So it's quite a raw differential of 96 points.
Chakram working on that front Canberra wall, jamming for Sydney. Tough luck, really pushing on that Sydney wall. Getting a little bit of movement, although Sydney seems to have locked it down again now. And making life difficult for Tough Luck. Big traffic jam on the entrance to turn 1, FTP.
It is, but traffic jam is over. Canberra is out. Is your lead jammer? It looks like a star pass there for Sydney.
Yeah, surround pound taking that star again, catching right up to Tough Luck. Tough Luck
saying no thank you.
No thank you. Like we were talking about before earlier, FTP, surround pound is not a pivot jammer to be toyed with. You call the jam, you do not let pound try to score.
And sound the emergency alerts.
Oh,
right?
nice. Pound, of course, came to Sydney as a junior who was aging up into adult skating, and yes, the several years of skating as a junior makes a huge difference to surround pound's experience, of course.
And of course, roller derby is a great sport for kids to play. You can find junior leagues all across our country, so just give a Google for Junior Roller Derby League, and wherever you happen to live, you will find somebody nearby. Yeah,
there'll be someone nearby. And for all ages, obviously the adult roller derby is a little bit smashy. It's not all like this.
No, it's not. You start junior with absolutely no contact, just positional blocking in the very lowest levels of junior derby, and then you build up those skills from there until you reach this level of derby where you can lay out a hit.
I do find that positional blocking in the earlier levels of roller derby to be super adorable.
It is,
and
yeah.
Also the way that all of the kids just take care of each other. It's so good to see, and is kind of the foundation of our community, right? Like, we are a community built on mutual support surrounding a sport, but it starts very, very early.
Ben Pratal jamming for Sydney Roller Derby League.
Two friends here jamming against each other. I'm pretty sure FTP Geralt wearing the star for Canberra.
While we were busy chatting at the beginning of that jam, or just before the beginning of the jam, there was a little bit of dancing and singing going on in each other's arms on the jammer line.
Ah, right, so I didn't make that up at all then.
Not at all, Commando.
Ben Brutal having the best of it here, though, on a power jam. Unfortunately, Geralt sent to the penalty box. 30 seconds to think about their life choices. I didn't see the hand signal, unfortunately, and Boomtish is currently standing with their hands on their hips, so that doesn't help me at all.
Once again, Ben Brutal reminding me of an old school speed skater. That style and stride around the corners is just amazing to watch.
Yeah, we might have to interrogate that a little bit more, FTP, and try and find out if there is speed skating in the family or in them's background. I genuinely don't know.
Or maybe it was Derby that taught good style.
Could be. All right, power start here for Sydney. Rampage wearing the star. Geralt, Canberra's jammer still in the penalty box, unfortunately.
Pack slows down as it approaches turn 1. Rampage gets bumped to the outside of the track.
And incurs a forearms penalty that had unfortunately knocked Brazen Ivy to the ground. Oh, FTP, what just happened in the penalty box?
It wasn't a swap, it was a just on 30 seconds. Canberra jammer released fully after serving time for Rampage to seat. So Rampage will be serving a full 30 seconds.
Yeah, no jammer swap for that particular one. And lead was still available. Girl with lead from the penalty box. Control of this jam going to Canberra.
It's not every day you manage to pick up lead when starting a jam in the penalty box, but here we are.
One of those little things that happens that I really like. I just like it when it happens. It's, unusual, but
Yeah, Rampage, star in hand, returning to the track. Looks like we're going to try to offload that star as soon as possible. Pivotal record for Sydney looks to be... You're going to have to fill me in there, Commando.
What's that, sorry?
Pivotal record for Sydney.
I'm going to take... Oh, yeah, there we go. It's Mother Fuzzer.
There we go. We don't get the offload in time there. Jam comes to its conclusion. 2 minutes and 8 seconds left on the period clock. We are almost out of Derby for the weekend, Commander. What are we going to do?
Go home and watch WrestleMania? I mean, that's what I'm going to do. But probably mostly lie flat and eat a packet of diff lamb, I suspect.
Well, to everybody here at Menai Indoor Sports Center this weekend, you have all done a phenomenal job. I'm sorry I couldn't join you for the first 2 days, but it has been wonderful coming in, catching up with people, and bringing some fresh voices and legs to the venue today. So I couldn't be happier than to be here with everyone.
All right, Yoshi, lead jammer now for Sydney. Sydney trying to create opportunities to score points here.
Not lead jammer for Canberra. Lead jammer for Sydney. Yoshi calls it off.
See Shorty approaching. The pack is like, no, you're a pivot jammer. Why are you a pivot jammer? Stop doing that.
I don't want to play that game.
No, exactly.
1 minute and 2 seconds. Lineup will take a chunk of that. Another 15 seconds, another 10 seconds left on the lineup clock. 193 plays 88. Differential is definitely changing here. Sydney's now down minus 28 on the total differential for the weekend. So there's some points that Sydney will need to make up to improve those points differentials total standings.
Really enjoying some of the Sydney defense here at the back of the pack. Pink Mist doing what they can to get into Sydney's seam, but Hoo and I'm pretty sure it was Rainbow Smash on the back of that wall, constantly reseeing their hip scheme, them back in front of Pink Mist, making life very, very difficult.
And once again happens as you were saying that again.
Yeah.
And that's their third time. Oh, no, we've got a Canberra jammer being recycled back this time, so it's definitely a defensive pack. Both packs keeping jammers at bay. Have we had a star pass for Sydney? I think we have.
No, Glam's still wearing the star at the moment, so... and Glam, her favourite thing, driving skaters out of play, sucking big deep breaths now, getting some oxygen back into those legs for the scoring pass. A little bit of clever play from Pink Mist there, trying to drag the Sydney wall across the track to the inside line to put them in front of Glam. Sydney wall was not going to let that happen though. All right, folks, jam is called off. Glam Cracker deciding that she'd had enough. It was time to call it. We're just picking up a couple of scoring passes on the end there, just waiting for all the officials to check with each other and decide that they're happy. Jam refs are happy with the score desk are happy with the jam refs.
And while the officials do officially things, we will thank them once again. So huge thank you, Nasty Surprise, Muggles, Mercy, Seath Lord, Mr. Tits, Sparkles, even Fativen.
Yep.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
Winosaur, Knitting Police, Honey Budger, General Payne, John Ref Kennedy, happy birthday once again, Boom Tish, Denominator, and Candy.
And big thank you to all our officials who are celebrating milestones this weekend. We had birthdays, we had 600th games, we had 500th games, we had 150th games. Just great work from everyone. And a big shout out too for Sydney Roller Derby League, our hosts this weekend, for all the work that you put in organising this event.
And it's never easy to organise an event that's 3 days long, requires so many volunteers and so many people just to put the event on. So well done, Sydney Roller Derby League. It's been an absolute pleasure and a blast for the short amount of time I have spent here, but from all reports from everybody else I've spoken to, it's been a wonderful weekend.
It sure has. All right, I think that's for us this weekend, FTP. Thank you to Skittles and our co-commentators this weekend, Candy, Energy and Moxie. It was lovely to work with you all.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look at some line honours and across the stats for the weekend. And we have our line honours up on screen right now. South Sea Banshees coming in 5th position for the weekend, Inner West on 4th position. Number 3 position, the bronze medal goes to Canberra Roller Derby League. Number 2, the silver medal position to Sydney Roller Derby League with a positive points differential of 136 points, making our champions for the weekend, Commando.
Excellent news. So
making Brisbane Red Kennedys the champions for the weekend.
Indeed. So now, what about the impact, the wider regional impact with the scale standings for this one?
Scale standings for this weekend at Get Sanctioned Eggstravaganza here at the beautiful Menai Indoor Sports Center, Inner West, coming in at 5th place. 4 games, 4 losses. For Sydney in 4th place, 3 games, 1 win, 2 losses. For 3rd place, South Sea Banshees, we have 3 games, 2 wins, 1 loss. Coming in at 2nd place, Brisbane Red Kennedys, 4 games, 3 wins and 1 loss. And the person taking the important the scaled standings, Canberra Roller Derby League, 4 games, 3 wins and 1 loss.
Canberra getting back to, certainly starting to build back to that. I think they were like top 20, top 15 before the pandemic.
I think so, yeah. They were definitely up there on the worldwide standings. Well, Commando, it's been an absolute pleasure. On behalf of Skittles sitting next to me here in the producer's chair and Candy and Apex TV, I'd like to say thank you all very much for watching. Apex TV will be back with you with plenty of live roller derby action for the rest of the year, so stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, which should be right down below. Hit the like button as well. Tell everybody out there this is where you can find the home of New South Wales Roller Derby streaming now. So thank you, Skittles. A huge thank you. Thank you, Candy. Thank you to my co-commentator here, Commando. It's an absolute pleasure to take the mic next to you.
Thanks, FTP. I hope we get to do a little bit more of this. Who knows?
I look forward to it too.
Excellent. Thank you very much, folks, from Menai Indoor Sports Center, a very, very important venue in Australian Roller Derby like we were talking about. Really exciting to have another event here. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your long weekend.